6 minutes after the hour, 6 a.m. It's Monday, June 17th, 2019, 53 degrees outside. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And Tom and Shane are both here, believe it or not. And it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood.
Uh-oh.
So how are you, man? Did you have a good weekend?
Well, it's pretty much typical summer. Just
Yeah.
unbelievable. Usually it's January, but wow, what weather we're having here. It's awesome.
Yeah, having a pretty good day, huh?
Yeah, you guys are having a pretty good day too, though.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to talk about the weather, except this internet connection that we have here at Town Square Media is
Not working?
it's the 8 words I can't say.
All
That's
at
what
once?
it is.
You want to say them all at once?
All at once. Friggin' thing, and I got everything set up, and I don't want to shut everything down and restart it and pull up all the things again, but I may have to do that. So
Oh,
anyway.
you're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, that's probably the option. So, but
Yeah, that's your option.
so
Yeah,
anyway, well,
Okay, well, I'll start with this day in history while you restart your computer.
I can do this day in history. I got that up.
Oh, of course, that works. Right.
Well, everything works except the stupid poll and the stupid weather.
and the weather, yeah. Well, no one's going to know what temperature it's going to be and what it may or may not do later, tomorrow or next week.
Well, I looked at it. It's 70 something today, so before it went south.
All right.
So, but anyway,
that's going to call you're going to make.
Yeah, well, we got no internet, but whatever I've got up is up. So.
All right,
we can go there. So we can go to 1775 when the Battle of Bunker Hill took place near Boston during the Revolutionary War. We can do that part.
On the 17th of June, no less.
Well, of course. Why not? Today.
Yeah, that's right. A full year before.
That's why we're doing it on this day in history, is because it was today.
I know. But the point is, it's a whole year before your Declaration of Independence because of Thomas Jefferson's writing of the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, and so it's Breeds Hill, adjacent to Bunker Hill. But the importance of this, the shot that was heard around the world, just seems like yesterday I said that. Was it a year ago?
Yeah, it was.
It was a year ago, huh? Wow, that's amazing.
Well, of course, we
Go
talk about these things all the time,
Yeah,
I mean, we talked about O.J. Simpson. We're going to talk about him again too.
I know. I noticed that.
Yeah.
This was pretty interesting. At the end of the day, how this turned out. American lost 115 killed, 305 wounded. Yeah. And the British, 19 officers killed, 62 officers wounded, 207 soldiers killed. So they backed off from the Continental Army. So in essence, the first confrontation between the experienced British and trained against the Continental Army, Continental Army won. So there you go.
There you are. Well,
the British 0.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, on this date in 1789 that no one cares about, the Third Estate of France declared itself a national assembly and undertook to frame a constitution. Like I care. Why? Why would I even remotely care about that?
No, because it wasn't successful. I mean, it didn't even last that long.
Well, there you are. So, see, I mean, shouldn't even be on the list.
Yeah, the only thing important is at that time, the First Estate was the clergy, and the Second Estate were the nobles, and the Third Estate was the National Assembly.
All right.
That's not the way it's viewed today, but that's the way it was viewed then.
All right. In 1856, the Republican Party opened its first convention in Philadelphia, inspired by the Dred Scott decision of 1850.
That's right.
And other things.
Impressive to realize that that's what brought about the Republican Party was the desire to be abolitionists and wanting freedom of slaves. And again, this represents the reality that the Democratic Party is a party of slavery and the Civil War. Anyway, William L. Dayton wanted to run, but John C. Fremont became the first a senator from California became the first nominated Republican for president in 1856. We know 4 years later that Lincoln became, head of the party and won the election. So, by the way,
Yes.
He didn't win by popular vote. Did you know
that? Actually, he did win by popular vote. If you look it up.
Oh, really?
That's a Fox News lie they've been telling forever.
But he did win by electoral vote.
Yeah, he did, but he didn't. But he also won by popular vote, and that's a fallacy. If you look it up, the vote totals are there, and he won popular vote as well as that.
Oh, there you go.
So that's we don't want to put out any bogus Fox info.
No, we don't want to do that. No. But it's interesting because there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nominees at the convention in '56, and as I said, Fremont won, and it's sort of interesting because Lincoln had thrown in his hat too as a former representative, Congress, and came up short though. I mean, he only got 37 votes in the first round of the first convention.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. I'm not too thrilled.
Yeah, 1928 on this date, Amelia Earhart embarked on the first transatlantic flight by a woman, and there you are.
Yeah, she. This is one of those like dynamos of the 20th century, right? There are a lot of people, right, that stuff went around the world on balloons and boats and planes and Model 10E Electra, 1937, from Oakland, California. She was a pretty aggressive gal, She was a stand-up gal. I'm gonna get it done.
Yeah.
You're not gonna start me fly around the world. She was with her spouse George P. Putnam, I believe.
All right.
Putnam.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Well, in 1940, France asked Germany for terms of surrender in World War II.
Yeah, this is one of those rare things that is of interest because the Battle of France took it didn't take very long, May 10th to the 26th of June, 46 days, and it's one of those things where you wonder how it falls apart so quickly. And the tough part was the British Expeditionary Force, the BEF it was called, ended up, as we know, at Dunkirk because it got, left behind by the French. They just abandoned the British that came over to help them. Oh, yeah. And the big question by historians was the Monod line that they'd built between France and Germany on the border after World War I. It was this big installation, and all Germany had to do was go around the lower lowlands of Denmark and Belgium to go around France, and that's wall they built. So
well,
that's
all right.
how they got it in 40 days, baby.
Well, in 1961, Soviet ballet dancer Rudolf Nureyev defected to the West while his troupe was in Paris. Big deal back then.
It was a huge deal because he was a world phenomenon and only lived to 54. And, he died the 6th of January, 1933. But remarkable dancer. He was like, he was the hallmark of the male ballerina, in the West. They couldn't get enough of him. So there you go.
In what?
Next.
1963, the Supreme Court struck down rules requiring the recitation. Is that right? Recitation?
Yeah. I'm so proud.
Saying the Lord's Prayer or the reading of Bible verses in public schools. We've gone downhill ever since.
Yeah, well,
that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the end, I think.
The beginning of the end. Well, but it's not the end of the beginning.
Well, no, but
no, we're still going.
Yeah.
So the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause of your hallowed Constitution and Bill of Rights collided, and the Supreme Court basically used the Establishment Clause to justify, that people could not be forced to entertain anything religious on government ground. That's basically, and they took most of that from a letter January 1st, 1802, by Thomas Jefferson to Danbury Baptist Association in Connecticut, headed by the famous Roger Williams, who started the church in 1644. And Jefferson argued that this was not something that could be contested because it had to be separated, church and state.
Not in the Constitution. Thomas left it out of that.
He did indeed. Yes, he did.
So
those guys were pretty smart, I think.
I don't know. 1994, of course, after leading police on a chase through Southern California, O.J. Simpson was arrested and charged with a murder in the slayings of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and Ronald Goldman. And we talked about that the other day.
The trial of the century. At the end of the century.
Yeah,
it came at the right time, but it was a terrible thing. I don't know. We talked about this before, and it's just that it's such a vicious crime. It just clearly was a crime of passion.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Can't argue with whatever the jury decides of his peers. They decide.
Okay, let's see. On 2008, hundreds of same-sex couples got married across California on the first day that gay marriage became legal by order of the state's highest court. However, California voters banned gay marriage in November, and the Supreme Court came along and did what?
Overturned it.
Yeah, they did. No, thank you.
Yeah. It's one of those amazing things, that they can do. Like they can, they can establish a rule like they did with Dred Scott.
Yeah.
A rule, and then it was wrong and overturn it. So this was one of those things that the voters of the state, by a really major margin, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't small. And it's mostly the African American vote that turned the tide on that proposition. It's legal now in both our countries, so there you go.
All right. We got to pay some bills, and we got to talk about the Montana news and agriculture. Got to take care of our farmers, ranchers, truck drivers, cab drivers, and whatever. Anybody that does that kind of stuff. So we'll be right back right after this. All right, it is 25 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m., Monday, June 17th, 2019, 54 degrees outside. Shay Matabin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And, hey, we're happy to be here with you guys today. And it's a Manic Monday already, so just letting you know. All right, I've got a forecast finally. Still don't have a poll, but, not a correct poll anyway. When I was making the poll, I made an error, so trying to correct it, but guess what? Ain't working.
You didn't have me on.
I have you on now.
Now you do.
Yeah, I got you on.
There you go.
All right. Let's see. We're looking for a high of 71 degrees today and 49 the overnight low. It's going to be partly cloudy, less than 25% chance of rain today. Tomorrow we're looking at 74 degrees, 50 the overnight low, partly cloudy again. Almost no chance of precip. Might have only about a 10 or 12% chance of rain tomorrow. Wednesday 71. And partly cloudy. We get a little rain, a little above 25%, and maybe in the afternoon around the area. And then, for whatever reason, the temperature drops. 57 on Thursday.
For whatever reason?
For whatever reason, the temperature drops. It doesn't, it just says, hey, Tom, the temperature drops.
Yeah.
57 degrees on Thursday, 38 the overnight low. Hey. And we are going to get some afternoon showers, probably about a 30% chance of afternoon showers and some overnight showers. Into Friday, 56 will be the high on Friday, 41 the overnight low, and then it goes back up a little bit on Saturday, 60, but we still got showers. And then Sunday, 66 and partly cloudy, and the showers kind of move out, but they'll come back at the beginning of the week. So I don't know, man. We can't get rid of this rain and cold weather. It's June. No reason for that.
It is, yes,
Yeah.
right. Well, for you it's January. For
That's
us, it's
true.
June.
It certainly is. Yep, yep. That
It's a
it
beautiful
is.
June. Yeah,
Yeah.
Can't complain. Can't.
Temperatures around the area right now: Livingston 49 degrees, Manhattan's 51, Three Forks is 51, and Gallatin Gateway is 50. Ennis is 49, Big Sky 42, and over at the airport in Belgrade right now, it is 51 degrees, and boy, it is 54 degrees here. So, in our lavishly appointed downtown studios, where we bring you all of the wonders of the world every single day, every single weekday, I should say.
That's right.
Between 6 and 9. So
That's right.
happy to do that.
And on time.
Yeah. But I don't have a reason why it goes from 71 to 57 overnight. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, I don't either. You're getting close to the summer solstice, so
I
it
was
should
going
be
to say, we've got to, I mean, the 21st is the longest day of the year. I mean, come on.
That's right.
I mean, that's it. It's the longest day of the year. It goes 56. What's up with that?
Exactly.
I don't like this.
No,
I'm gonna move
to where?
Vancouver, where it's 80. Of course.
Well, yeah, but this is an exception. This is not the rule.
Well, one thing, you're coming down in January. There's a couple things I want you to bring with you.
Snow?
One is I want you to bring those shopping bags.
Oh yeah,
the ones they tried to print to discourage people from using shopping bags, plastic bags in grocery stores.
Yes,
so they printed adult bookstore on them, and incontinence products or whatever. So you gotta bring some of those so we can pin them up in the station here. All right, man. All right, that's going to do it for this segment right here. We come back, we got a lot of local news to talk about, so a lot of good stuff going on around town. So we'll be back to talk about that in just a few minutes. Greg Gianforte is going to join us at 8 o'clock, and so stay tuned for that. And we'll be back with more stuff. We got Montana State News, Fox News, and Brooke Foster weather, and a bunch of other stuff right after this. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Monday, June 17, 2019, 55 degrees outside. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house. Shane and Tom on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And, well, we got some local stuff going on, and this might be interesting to some folks out there that the Gallatin County Commission wants to consider partisan versus nonpartisan ballot issue. What do you think? Partisan versus nonpartisan ballot issues. According to the Gallatin County press release, the commissioners will consider asking voters if they want to change county election from partisan to nonpartisan for Gallatin County offices. Montana lawmakers recently passed a bill allowing Montana counties to ask voters if they would like to change elections held for county officials from partisan to a nonpartisan. So they'll.
What does that mean?
It means that they, rather than declaring they're Republican or Democrat, they will declare they're nothing.
They're nonpartisan.
They're nonpartisan, supposedly.
Oh, so everybody's in the sandbox together.
Everybody's in the sandbox together. They wouldn't. Oh. Yeah, right now you get two ballots. You get a Republican and a Democrat ballot.
But wonder if you want to play in the red sandbox with the red sand.
Well, then you got to play on one. You got to play with one ballot or the other. You can't play with both of them. So one of them you trash, and the other one you, yeah.
Is this like nobody gets a medal for winning it?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it means, yeah. Well, the commissioners will decide on June 18th meeting whether this option be presented to the voters on the November 5th ballot. And the release goes on to explain Gallatin County, there's 12 elected positions that we need to look at. There's 3 county commissioners, of course, and we've got 2 justices of the peace, sheriff, county attorney, a treasurer, clerk of recorder, and superintendent of schools, and the auditor and clerk of the district court. So to get on the ballot, commissioners need to approve an ordinance at the June meeting by June 18th meeting, And you can read a draft of the ordinance at our website, kmmsam.com, and they'll have it there.
So basically, what this means is you're actually voting for the person and not the party.
Well, sort of, I guess. Yeah, I guess that would mean what it means. So if passed, the ordinance, if passed, it'll have a second reading. Let's see, second reading Tuesday, June 9th, July 9th public meeting. Sorry, getting June and July mixed up here. If passed at that meeting, the question would be placed on November's ballot, and citizens are encouraged to submit public comment on this topic. Go to the Tuesday meeting, public meeting, 9 a.m. in the third floor of the community room at the courthouse. That's the June 9th meeting. And then you can also submit written public comment by email, commission@gallatin.mt.gov, or dropping it off at the commission office, and they're on the 306 floor of the courthouse. So,
well, there you go.
Let's take
Go ahead. Let's take a call.
Let's take a phone call. Yeah, we've got to take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. 522-8255. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Morning, gentlemen. It's Steve.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Little bit of an earlier call.
I know.
I have to say, I think this is a terrible idea.
Me too.
I have a hard enough time after studying candidates telling the difference between their ideologies, Democrat, Republican. I don't support taxes, and then you vote for them, and the first thing you get is a tax. Mm-hmm. So, that identifier, the ideology of left or right, is one of the very few things that when you walk up to the ballot, you're able to identify the individual by.
Yeah.
Taking that away, I'm just voting on a name. I have barely any idea who this person is. When they're out on the stumping trail, they say one thing, but they're politicians. You can't believe anything they say, so you just have to go off an ideology that you hope they actually believe in. So I just think this is a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah. Well,
okay, that's all I wanted to say.
No,
guys.
That's fine. No, we appreciate
you have a great morning.
All right, yeah, we appreciate your opinion. Do you have to declare party affiliation in Vancouver?
Yes, you do.
Okay, yeah, we don't hear.
Because we went through this about 40 years ago, back in the 80s, and because there were so many parties.
Right.
And they were just putting the person's name on it, and then people were complaining, well, I vote NDP. So you don't vote for the person. I vote NDP, right? So
okay.
That's National Democrat, the Socialist Party, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Conservative Party or the Liberal Party. And so they didn't want just the name, they wanted the designation. But it seems to be putting the designation of somebody as not being nonpartisan. I don't know. I don't think that's
as I've said all the time, there is a, people listening to us right now are going to say, there's no difference between the parties. They're all out for themselves. And I would tend to agree with that. They're out to be reelected. Pretty much, period. Right. I mean, that's all. That's pretty much what they want. I believe underlying that there is a philosophy of, each party has whatever it is. One's pro-life, one's pro-choice, one's this, one's that. So they do have those distinctions that I think voters, when they're asked to declare a party preference so they can vote for their party, their best candidates, that makes a certain amount of sense, but I don't believe that every party always puts up the best person.
That's true, but you have this tradition in your country called down ballot, meaning if you vote Republican, you vote Republican all the way.
Yeah, and you may get a lousy judge or a lousy superintendent of schools down the way or something like that, just because that person just isn't up to that job or qualified for it, or nobody qualified decided to run because they didn't want their background picked over completely. So I mean, it's any number of things there, and that's why I say that and particularly in an area like Bozeman, where you can pretty well get to your people who are running. You can Yeah, you can get to these folks and talk to them and find out what their thoughts really are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we don't really, you don't get to Danes and Tester as much as you would say, Palm Nikowski or Tom Burnett or people like that. I mean, you're able to access those folks and talk to them and read their websites and stuff like that. So that makes it a little easier, and that's why I say politics are local and they're important. Probably more important here as to what goes on in Washington D.C.
Well, I think, it has a much bigger impact for sure.
Yeah.
What goes on locally. Yeah.
Now you
There's no
can,
question about it.
I mean, you can make a case for tariffs and everything, hurt Gallatin farmers. Sure, I mean, we're aware of that, certainly to some extent. But, I think for the most part, what we worry about are fish and streams and, our quality of life here and things like that. And that's
And
what
those forests. You're very
forests too.
particular
Yeah.
about
Yeah. All our forest things and all that stuff. Are we going to sell it or not sell it?
To sell or not to sell.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
question.
Let's see now from our text line 478-8298. Now more than ever, we're just voting either the devil or the deep blue sea. So
That's right.
But
The devil you know or the one you don't.
that's it. I got to take a break. I'm way behind here. So we'll be right back right after this. 10 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Monday, June 17th, 2019, 55 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the mid-70s today. Shane Matavin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. And we are the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And thank you very much for joining us. And from our text line, 478-8298, eliminating party labels is simply a way to fool the voters, Shane. Simply a way to fool the voters.
I would agree with that. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Confuse the voters.
Yeah. Confusion, delusion, huh?
Yeah, there you go. Confusion, delusion, baby. Crazy game.
Well, yeah. Well, I would encourage everybody to attend the meeting that's going to talk about that particular thing. Is coming up on, I think it's June 9th. I'm sorry. They'll decide it. They'll decide it on June 18th. So get their June 18th meeting as to put it on the ballot, and then they're going to have another one in July, a public meeting. And citizens are encouraged to submit public comment or go to the meeting. They start at 9 a.m. on the third floor of the Gallatin County Courthouse. If you contact the courthouse, they can give you information, or you can submit written comment if you want to comment by email, commission@gallatin.mt.gov, or you can drop your letter or whatever off at the commission office itself as to your feelings on this particular topic. So they'll be happy to.
Excellent.
Happy to entertain your thoughts. So anyway, that's one of the stories at our website. Some other things over there. Our poll, who will be Montana's next governor? Who will be Montana's next governor? We got some choices there for you. And or you can write in your own choice for governor, and we'll let that go. And also, we had some funnel clouds form over Bozeman. There's a story about that and some pictures at our website at kmmsam.com. So get over and take a look at that. Also, a rescued highlight climber suffers significant head injury. That story's at kmmsam.com. Access it either on your laptop or your cell phone. And a wild political weekend for Montana Republicans. That's a story in Helena, so you'll want to go over and read that as well. And also coming up at 8 o'clock, Greg Gianforte will join us here in studio, and we'll be chatting with him about, he announced running for governor along with some others, and our poll question, who do you think will be our next governor? And so I'll get over and answer that question. And we've got to take another break because we went a little long on that first segment. So I apologize for kind of the short dip between things. But, hey, the salespeople have been working. So we got to get them in. We'll be right back with more right after this. All right, about 3 minutes before the top of the hour, another topic I'm going to talk about from our website, KMMSAM.com. The Supreme Court's going to consider hearing school choice case on June 20th, and that's a case here in Montana. In May of 2015, Montana enacted a scholarship program after the legislature decided all parents, regardless of their income, should be able to select their children's schools. And the program provides a modest tax credit up to $150 annually to individuals and businesses who donate to private scholarship organizations. Those scholarship organizations can then be use the donations to give scholarships to needy families who want to send their children to private schools. But the Montana Department of Revenue enacted an administrative rule that prohibited scholarship recipients from using their scholarships at religious schools, and nearly 70% of Montana's public schools are religiously affiliated, and excluding them severely limited the choices of families. So in December of 2018, the Montana Supreme Court went even further and ruled 5-2 that the entire scholarship program was unconstitutional under the Montana Constitution. Because of the inclusion of religious options, the court held that because families may choose to use scholarships at religious schools, the program provided indirect payments to aid religious institutions, making the entire program unconstitutional under Article 10, Section 6 of the Montana Constitution. What a crock.
Well, they straightened that one out, didn't they?
So anyway, the Supreme Court's going to hear this and decide whether or not this is a separation of church and state once again, or, you got private individuals, private businesses putting these scholarships in place. You got 70% of your private schools are religious schools. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how they rule. That may be one Jennifer will be chatting with. We'll be chatting with her about on Friday. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. So. All right, we got a lot more to talk about. We got a workforce problem in Bozeman. Corey Stapleton has jumped to another office, so we'll be talking about that a little bit and some other things. So stay tuned. There's stuff going over in Livingston, of course, and we'll be right back with more right after the news. Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Monday, June 17th, 2019, 59 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the mid-70s. And Greg Gianforte, running for governor, will be in here at 8 o'clock for a little conversation. So we hope you'll stay tuned for that. And if Shane Taubman's on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, and the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Hey, don't forget, if you missed the thing with Greg, we'll be posting that. But you never have to miss any of the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane, because you can be a Tom and Shane insider. And it doesn't cost you a lousy 15 cents a day. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free.
That's right.
It's free as can be. All you got to do is go over to our website, click on Tom and Shane's podcast, and we are right now at 940 downloads of our shows of 160 some episodes. So we're
cool.
We're only 60 short of 1,000 now. So. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. I'm impressed with that. But yeah, we've got quite a few folks that follow the show. The other great thing is if you go over there and pan down on the right-hand side, you can get the podcast sent directly to your phone. Either your Apple or your iPad or your Android phone. And you don't have to do anything. It'll just automatically show up, and you can listen to it whenever you want to, and it's a great service. And so get this podcast on your phone. Just go down and click on download at the App Store or get it on Google Play, and it'll do it for you virtually automatically. So
Virtually.
Wow. Yeah, virtually. That's a big word.
That's power. That's power. It's power broking.
Virtually the biggest word I know. Yeah,
that's virtually the biggest.
Virtually the biggest word I know. Yeah. Hey, don't forget to vote in our poll. Who will be Montana's next governor? You can do that at KMMSAM.com or over at your cell phone, AM 1450 KMMS. Get the app over there today. You can listen to us during the show or anytime. You can also access us using the app chat, which is right next to the listen button.
We want everyone to know it is a nonpartisan poll.
That's right. It's a nonpartisan poll. We got Republicans, Democrats in there. So, if there's somebody that you want to write in, that you think might run, then put their name in there. Put their name in there as well, and we'll be keeping track of that as we go along, and we'll let you know how that poll is progressing. One of the write-ins was Steve Daines, so just to let you know that one was writing in. Right now, it's while the polls are just opened, Shane. So it's early yet.
It's early yet. The polls are just opened.
Right. But right now, Greg Gianforte is in the lead with 45%. Tim Fox is at 33%. Mike Cooney is a possible. I don't know that he's officially declared yet, but we put him in there anyway at 8%. Al Olszewski is 4%, tied with Casey Schreiner, 4%. And we have Riley Neal so far that from Livingston that doesn't have any votes yet. So we'll keep you apprised on that and see how that goes. So let you know as we go along.
That's right. So, and people out there that want to plan debates can use this information. That's right.
Yeah.
It's a poll that could be used for information to determine how many people could be in the up on the stage.
That's true.
We want it to be fair.
Well, I think in this case, I think everybody will be up there. We don't have enough to worry about somebody not making the cut. I think everybody will be standing up there, whatever, on both parties.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Well, speaking of that, we do have the results of who's going to be on the stage in the Democratic.
Yes, you do.
The Democrat things and
what night?
Yeah,
boy, you got the secret on this. You're wired right to the DNC.
Almost, yeah. They sent me the. Well, we could do that real quick. Let's talk about that. Let me write that down because I got to put it in our thing as well. 7 to 8 NEMS. Let's see. Well, on Wednesday night is the kind of lackluster night.
That's right.
You're not gonna hear much on Wednesday night. Wednesday night, you got Cory Booker of New Jersey. You got Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. You got Beto O'Rourke of Texas. You got Senator Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota. You got Republican or former Representative John Delaney of Maryland. Nobody's ever heard of. The only reason to watch Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. Very easy on the eyes. I think you'll. That would be the only reason I would watch is to see what she has to say. Former Housing Secretary Julian Castro, a total wacko. Representative Tim Ryan of Ohio, no one knows. Another wacko, Bill de Blasio. How he made it and Bullock didn't, I don't know. But anyway. And
money talks, baby.
And Washington Governor Jay Inslee, that nobody's ever heard of, will also be there. So. But on Thursday night, you get the big hitters. You get Senator Barry Sanders of Vermont. You get Kamala Harris of California. You get Joe Biden. You get Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana, the mayor. You get Michael Bennet of Colorado. Marianne Wilson, the author. Eric Swalwell of California, another wacko. Christian Gillibrand of New York, and entrepreneur Andrew Wang, and John Hickenlooper of Colorado. So Thursday's the night.
Your choice.
Thursday's the night you're going to have all the big hitters in there, and so Wednesday night with the exception of they stuck Elizabeth Warren in there, so I guess they had to have somebody over there that was up in the polls because nobody else is.
Well, they had to have a draw.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say probably, yeah, she's the leader by far in the polls of anybody there. So, I would say, yeah, let's
Try.
But anyway, we'll keep you up to speed on those as that's going to be a week from this coming Wednesday.
How exciting is that?
Yeah, June 26th and June 27th. So we'll keep track of it. We'll probably do a poll on those 2 days. Who won? And we'll get your opinions on who do you think won those 2 dates, and we'll review those on Thursday and Friday after the debates happen. And
I don't know about you, but I'm getting gummy bears instead of popcorn because I don't want to be yelling at the TV.
Yeah, you don't want to spit popcorn all over the TV. So, well, I'm just hoping, I'm hoping they ask Cory Booker what kind of tree he'd like to be, or what kind of tree he'd be if he were a tree. So,
right.
I'm sure that's the kind of questioning you're going to get from the from these folks. So, so we're pretty excited about that. So yeah, get over to our poll. Who will be Montana's next governor, and get over there and vote, and we'll have the results for you as we go through the morning. So, and there's room for your own answer too, so see who does what and to whom.
Now, you guys usually have your primaries will be like June of next year, right?
Yeah, pretty well everything's decided by the time we get to vote. That's why I say that's in our case, you want to vote for local. The primary as to who's going to go to August or July or whatever the convention is pretty well done.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Yeah. So there's not much.
And, there's not. Interesting this year. Not many governor races this year.
No. There's
I think there's like only 5 or 10 governor races. I should look it up. But
yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, we got what do we got this time? We in the House we got or the Senate rather we got 22 Republicans and like 8 Democrats.
That's
something
right.
Like that.
Yeah, it's really quite fascinating.
Pretty lopsided over there. Of course, the entire House of Representatives is up for re-election. So.
Full 50. Yeah, the full 50.
Yeah.
The famous full 50. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here. Yeah, the House is 435. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And the Senate is 33 every time. And this time it's the 33 is, what is it? It's 13. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. 117th Congress. And, so it's 13 states for governors. That's it. 13 gubernatorial elections is all.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's sort of, it's quite interesting, yeah.
All right. Let's take a phone call, then we got to take a break. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Call you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I just wondered why you guys believe in those polls.
I don't know the way. I don't. Right? Well, if you believed in the polls, Trump wouldn't have been president.
That's my point. Why do you put so much importance in those damn polls?
I don't think we're putting any importance in them. We're just reporting them as news.
You're just reading the polls and telling us that who is it? That Biden is way out there, and
no, we were
Tom.
No, we were
talking about the debates.
We were reading about who's going to be on the debate stage, not who's leading in the polls.
Same difference.
Okay,
difference. You were talking about polls. You're the one that was so upset because you thought Hillary was going to win.
I thought she would win. I still can't believe Trump's president. I'm glad he is, but I can't believe it.
Tom, step slowly away from the television.
That's right. I got
back up.
I got to up my meds.
My God, has anybody figured out that they try to form public opinion by reading bogus polls? Has anybody figured that out yet?
Well, I think they learned their lesson the last election.
I'm wondering about you, Tom. Did you learn your lesson?
I'm not going to believe them this time around. I'll tell you, not me, man. No, I may report them, but I don't have to believe them.
President Biden coming right up.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, right.
Hey, thanks for the call. Yeah, boy, I can't imagine President Biden. Oh my God.
Oh, that
would be. I don't know.
That would be very scary.
Yeah, I'd vote for Roseanne Barr. I think before I'd vote.
Yeah, Roseanne Barr.
For
now
Biden.
that would be.
Yeah. There you
Is
go.
would that be fun or scary?
Yeah.
Here, I don't know.
I don't know which it would be.
Well,
So,
one or the other.
Yeah. So anyway, looking at, as I said, looking at the polls the last time around, oh my God, what Hillary was double digits in almost every state they talked about.
From the very beginning, remember,
Yeah.
even with Bernie,
Yeah.
they had her.
Well, and I think I think the reason was that people just didn't want anybody to know that Trump was their guy, thinking they would get negative feedback for it because he was beat up so bad. One of the polls that seemed to be pretty accurate was a poll where they asked who your neighbor was going to vote for. Not you, but who was your neighbor going to vote for? And a lot of people said Trump. So this guy says, well, a lot more people out there are voting for Trump than I thought. And, but as I said, it's a miracle to me he won. I couldn't see any way. And if you look at YouTube, they've got all kinds of things where these liberals melt down all night long. People are crying. They're literally crying across America tonight because, come on, guy hasn't even taken the oath of office yet, and already you're thinking the worst. How do you like it now?
Not only that, but in the fetal position, crying.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we gotta get down and get all bent out of shape too. I don't know.
Yeah, like that. That was like really bizarre. Like.
That's pretty funny. All right.
I think a lot of them are crying because they knew that was their last paycheck.
Well, that may be. I don't know.
Working for the campaign. Yeah, they were crying over their last paycheck for the campaign.
All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 23 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Monday, June 17th, 2019, 58 degrees outside. And welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And Tom Eaglehoff, your morning mayor. Shane and Tom, and half man, half amazing in Vancouver. And, the other thing we got to talk about, Shane, we got to talk about this workforce shortage here in Bozeman. A lot of problems there. The biggest one, I guess, affordable housing is often mentioned as the root of the problem, that you can't afford to live here and work for the wages that restaurants pay and retail pays and those kinds of things. So, with house prices high and no rental vacancy, most people willing to work entry-level jobs, they're not coming to Bozeman. They aren't going to be here. So, or else they're seeking other options. But construction is one of Bozeman's fastest-growing industries. You can't swing a cat without hitting a building being
not a nice
somewhere.
thing to do to a cat.
Yeah, right. Well, according to Montana Department of Labor Industry Anywhere, in a report prepared for Bozeman, that we need construction workers pretty badly, and still it can be hard to find workers. Brian Popeil is the government affairs coordinator for Southwest Montana Building Industry Association, and based on anecdotal information, he said that said people with limited skills can get a job for $15 to $16 an hour. I was just in Walmart the other day. They got a big sign. They're hiring at $14 an hour to start. Wow. So that's, I don't know if that's certainly not a living wage in Bozeman, but it's better than minimum wage of $8.20 or whatever it is. So, but anyway, and $20 if you're willing to go to the Yellowstone Club. So if you want to go down and put your application in at the Yellowstone Club, you can get a little better deal. Skilled employees with 5 to 10 years of experience could make wages in the low to mid 20s with full benefits, though there's a lot of variation in that. And the shortage of construction workers is a nationwide issue. Bozeman, no exception there. A lot of people in mid-level management positions moved to other fields during the recession. There are a fair number of entry-level workers, he said, but the industry is missing skilled tradesmen. We've always had that problem here in Montana, that skilled tradesmen. There's the opportunity
the finishing work on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
The finishing work that's got to be done in the house on the inside.
Yeah,
it is a skilled job.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, the elephant no one in the room wants to talk about is workforce to build more housing in the first place. Cited problems the city had with staffing the building department, and it goes on and on. It's not just at the construction level; it's at the city level, the county level, and whatever too. So. Let's see, school bus drivers desperately needed from our text line 478-8298. Absolutely right. They've had a hard time finding school bus drivers to do the job, and so Perkins Restaurant reduced its hours, and Taco John's closed for a couple weeks because they couldn't find anybody to staff the restaurant. So
that's
it's
incredible.
It's really become an issue, and we've always languished, I think, in 48th or 49th in salaries.
Yes.
Just because we got a low population and we got a lot of students, we got a lot of low income workers. They're in retail, they're in whatever jobs are available, but they don't pay a whole lot. So that's one of the problems that we have here, and boy, it's just it's a bad situation.
It's actually both. It's not just that there's not enough money, or you can't generate the revenue necessary for the cost, but there's nothing to buy. I mean, the bottom line, right? It doesn't even matter if you had the money or that you could afford the mortgage. There's nothing to buy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you want to go out and eat, but you can only do it between 11 and 11:15.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that or not. So it's kind of scary to go out and do that. So I don't know if it's going to be quite a challenge here.
Do you have any all-nighters there, like open all-night restaurants?
Restaurants, not that I'm aware of.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think we do. Walmart's open 24 hours. I think. Yeah. They're probably that's when they stock everything and do the stores.
Yeah, they're open to stocking.
Yeah, they're doing all the stuff there. So, let's see. I got a caller, Shane. Entertain them while we take our break at the bottom of the hour,
okay.
And then we'll chat with them if they want to stay on during the break. And we'll be right back. We got Fox News, we got Montana State News, and all kinds of stuff going on. So we'll be right back right after this. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. Shane has been working hard trying to get a listener into his van with promise of candy and puppies. Let's see if he's successful. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Candies and puppies. What's this about? Tom?
I don't know.
Oh,
you have to ask Shane. He's the one with the van.
Well, my big call today is this. I was in Walmart yesterday after, day before yesterday, and I see signs in there, like you said, people, they want to hire people.
Yep.
But they can't pay them anything. And there's no place for them to live. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder who did the planning for this city on the growth. I said a long time ago, if you remember, Tom, and I was telling Shane that this county would have over 120,000 people in it, in less than 5 years, and it's happened.
Yep.
And the thing that bothers me is our county planners. We have what they call a planning board for the city.
We do.
And we have a planning board for the county.
Mm-hmm.
Do they talk to each other?
No.
No. Why? It's politics.
They don't like each other.
That's right. So the thing is, we have a mess here in Gallatin County. We don't have enough places for the people to live that are serving the more wealthy. They don't have. They have to come and have 2 or 3 live in a house or an apartment to rent it to be able to pay the rent. The rent is so damn high they can't afford to pay it, but yet you're only getting $13, $14 an hour. How the hell are they going to make it? So what I'm saying is the planning boards of the city and the county and the county commissioners and the city commissioners need to come together, which they don't do very seldom, come together and do some damn good planning for the Bozeman of Vail, Colorado. Bozeman is going to become Vail, Colorado all over. It'll be more so. This valley and these farms and stuff that's in this flat valley eventually will have houses on them.
Mm-hmm. But how are you going to? How many years we've been talking about affordable housing in Bozeman? How many plans we've gone through? And I mean, it's not possible. I don't think
it is possible, Tom, if they forget about the political parties and their power and come together and think about, it's the people we're serving.
Well, but it's the builders. You can't ask a builder to go out and buy and put up a substandard house where they might lose their shirt on it.
Well, look at the developers. What's happened right now?
But I mean, you can't force a developer to put up 10 good houses and 2 bad ones.
No, that's where the planning of the city and the county comes in.
To do what?
To plan for these places to have low-income housing here.
Well, you can have a place for it, but unless the city's going to donate the land, I don't know how you're going to put up a $200,000 house that's a decent house.
Not now. You can't do it now. It's impossible.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Prior to
they could have.
They could have.
Yeah, they could have 20 years ago, but they didn't.
That's what you call foresight.
They were buying the Story Mansion and the Mandeville Farms and everything else,
and losing lots of money.
Right. Well,
I mean, just look at it. Look what happened to that little 80-acre piece down there north of town. Yeah.
Well, the planning, what do? They planned some kind of park in every conceivable subdivision, and now they got no money to maintain the parks that they wanted everybody to go to.
Well, that comes back to planning.
I was going to say, your kids are playing in waist-deep weeds in half the parks in town.
Well, there's one park there. My friend owned the land, and down there on, it ain't Yellowstone Avenue. It's the one that comes off of, God, I can't think of the name of the street. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it's a big, huge park there. You turn there at Casey's Corner and come down. That's Yellowstone Avenue, I think. Mm-hmm. And you come down there and you cross Thurston. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then on the right there's a park. There must have 10 acres in it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's either you give a ninth of the property you're going to develop to the city or the money.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. But what I'm saying is there could have been some planning a long time ago if the county commissioners at the time and the city commissioners at the time would come together, take a good look at the valley, see what they could do, figure on the growth of the valley. I said it a long time ago.
Yeah, but you can't even put up a trailer park unless you put up 24 feet wide streets and curbs and gutters and sidewalks and every other damn thing. And nobody that's going to do a mobile home park is going to recoup their investment in all that infrastructure, even with impact fees.
That's where you come in with planning again.
Well, you got to go in there and plan for a smaller street, and you don't have sidewalks.
That's right.
You don't have this. You don't have that. I mean, then you got something to work with.
Well, then they put. See, the reason it is that is this planning that they done. They were trying to foresee not to have these trailer parks and stuff. They planned.
Well, of course not.
They don't want them. You don't want the poor people in town.
Well, I'll tell you, you put up a bunch of trailer parks, you know what you get? You get tornadoes.
Tornadoes.
That's it. I mean, don't you watch the news?
Oh, yeah, I watch it.
Every time there's a tornado, they got a trailer park gone.
Well,
they're magnets. They're tornado magnets.
Well, anyway, it's sure disgusting. But anyway, I've talked to a lot of people there at various different stores in town.
I know, yeah.
And you have too. I don't know what Shane's doing out there in Vancouver, but I know that damn well here.
He's clipping coupons.
Oh, he's clipping coupons?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Have to. I can't afford the food they charge. What they charge for food here.
Well, I'll tell you something. Now I'm going to change the subject here a little bit.
Well, real quick, because I got to take a break. So go for it.
Mr. Trump said if he wasn't elected again, the economy goes straight to hell.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I want you guys and some of the other people out there tell me that he's wrong.
Yeah. All right. We'll cover that after the break.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. Man. All right. Thanks a lot. All right, we'll be right back. 12 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Monday, June 17th, 2019. Another manic Monday. Shane Taubman on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. We've had a caller patiently waiting. So, caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, Tom, this is Joel, and I just want to let you know that when you get Gianforte on, you tell him I think he's making a big mistake running for governor. I think this is Tim Fox's race, and he's going to win it all the way.
Okay.
And then now when Gianforte, I hate to see him, if he runs for governor and doesn't get it, and I won't vote for him. I've always voted for him in the past, but I won't in the governor's race. And so tell him that I think there's an awful lot of us that'll abandon him, and then he won't have any office, and then that little weasel Williams might sneak in.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a possibility. Corey Stapleton has moved over to vote for representative.
Oh, okay.
So he just announced that the other day. So, yeah, I know the same thing you're thinking, that Gianforte could probably keep that seat if he didn't run for governor. So
I just think so much of Tim Fox. I think he is 100% governor written all over him.
Yeah. So.
All right, sir.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Yeah.
Thanks for the call.
All right. All right. Well, yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. Our poll, who will be the next governor, go over and vote. We'll give you the results that we have at the end of the show. So don't want to taint anybody's. I don't want to release the polls too soon because, we want people to vote. So let's see. Well, your choices are Greg Gianforte that we just talked about, Tim Fox, Mike Cooney may get in, Democrat, State Representative Casey Schreiner, Republican, State Senator Al Olszewski, Republican, and Riley Neal out of Livingston is a Democrat. And so those are the ones that are in the race so far. So there you go. So go over and vote at KMMSAM.com or on your smartphone at AM 1450 KMMS. Download our app, and you can do all kinds of things over there. See our polls and all of our questions and all of that stuff. So be kind of interesting. The other thing we got to talk about, Shane, of course, everybody's been getting hit with the property taxes, 28% increase in Madison County, 23 in Gallatin, 19 in Park. A lot of people got sticker shock opening their tax their property tax bill, and man, they do it every 2 years. And boy, a lot of people were really surprised at Gallatin County as a whole. 32% increase in residential, according to the State Revenue Department. So that jump is attributed to new construction and growth that Clint was talking about. It's just getting more and more unaffordable to live here, unless you're established and you're in my case, you don't have a mortgage, so you're paid out. So, but
I personally, I think these new assessments are based upon their need for more money to spend.
Well, I think that's right. Just like the park thing is a perfect example. The city commission comes along and says you got to put all these parks in, but they had no planning, as Clint pointed out, no planning whatsoever for how they're going to maintain the park. So now, what do we have to do? We got to ask for more money. And what are they going to do? Get somebody for $14 to maintain the parks? I mean, come on. Yeah. Or how many people are they going to need? They can't even find people in the street department. They can't even hire them there.
That's right.
So,
exactly.
I don't know. Anyway, we got to take another quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
4 minutes before the top of the hour, and we've got a caller patiently waiting on the line. So if I can find the phone button. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Tom, I just want to say, isn't it amazing that right after they come out with, your property tax increase, that they decide they want nonpartisan voting?
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't think that people are going to not blame the Democrats for this big old snafu that, when you raise somebody's property tax 25%, that's crazy.
Well,
That's crazy.
there you go. See, you.
So, you don't think that's the reason. That's the reason why.
No coincidence there, huh?
No, and it's really quite sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
You want, like you said, they want everybody in town to have a park. Well, I get to pay $90 a quarter for my park already, and then they want to raise me another $200 to pay for other people's parks over there.
Yeah. So
I'm tired of paying for other people's crap. So you have a nice day.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Well, I think I think both the county and the city commission are forgetting who's the employer and who's the employee in the room. That seems to be the problem that we're facing here. But one thing that is kind of a nice issue, though, we've got over in Livingston, they're talking about they're talking about buying a trailer park over there. That the owners of the people who live there are talking about buying the park. So
that's a good idea.
That could be kind of an interesting situation or way to solve this problem a little bit. So maybe that's what some of the folks over here should think about doing. That would certainly be an interesting concept, way to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I know we talked with someone in Belgrade, I think, that has the trailer park out on the end of the frontage road there, and she wanted to increase the size of it, but yeah, they come in with all the restrictions on the roads width and we got to have curbs and gutters and sidewalks and everything else. But I don't know. It's from our text line 478-8298. Solve the housing issue. Shut down MSU. It will also help with the workforce problem. Well, if it wasn't for the students, our unemployment would probably be zero.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Of course, they're gone now, so that's one reason we have a workforce problem, because the students aren't here. So for all intents and purposes, it is shut down. So there you are. So, all right, Greg Gianforte's in the hallway. He'll be in here in just a moment. So stay tuned for that. Also, don't forget, if you miss any of our shows, you'll get them. We record them every day, get them up by about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and you can rehear everything we talk about all day long. So Shane Matobin in the house, Tom Eagle, your morning mayor, and we'll be back with Greg Gianforte right after the news at the top of the hour. Everyone, it's 6 minutes after the hour of 8 a.m. It's Monday, June 17, 2019, 65 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line with me, half man, half amazing, in Vancouver, British Columbia. And Tom Eagle, your morning mayor, and you're on the KMMS Morning Soapbox. And we'd like to welcome Greg Gianforte, running for governor of Montana, to our studio. And thanks for coming, Greg.
Tom and Shane, good to be with you.
Yeah, we're happy to have you along with us. And well,
happy belated Father's Day to everybody.
Yeah, right.
I had the great pleasure of having all four of our kids back in Bozeman.
All right, good deal.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, some things we got a lot of things we want to talk about. One is, I guess, Vice President Pence came to Bozeman talking about the opioid and the our meth situation here. And,
yeah, we flew. I had the great pleasure of flying with Vice President Pence and Senator Daines from Andrews Air Force Base to Billings, and then we met some courageous young women who are putting their lives back together at Willow Way. And it's just, it emphasized for me the importance of this work. Mm-hmm. The reality, Tom, is that drugs are just ripping our communities apart. I had a business owner up in Missoula recently tell me that 50% of all the job applicants he has coming into his business in Missoula can't pass a drug test.
Wow.
I mean, catastrophic for the cost to society, the impact on families. Law enforcement tells me the vast majority, over 90% of the crime we see in our communities is drug-related, all the vandalism, burglaries, domestic violence, and the kids that are in foster care. And these drugs are coming in over the southern border. So I was so pleased to have Vice President Pence here to really shine a spotlight on that and hold up some of the programs that are making a difference in our communities.
Right. Yeah. The other thing, I guess, that has come up recently regarding the border is that because we had, 144,000 people apprehended at the crossing illegally.
In May alone.
Yeah. And now they're pulling people away from the TSA at airports. They're pulling them off of the very places where drugs come in, the border checkpoints.
Yeah.
And
we're at a pace now. I mean, we have a humanitarian and a national security crisis. As you mentioned, 144,000 illegal aliens apprehended. Those are just the ones that got caught.
Yeah.
In May alone. It's over 1.5 million people a year. That's the pace we're on. That's why I was pleased President Trump stood up and got Mexico to help.
Yeah.
They're now sending their National Guard to their southern border because the vast majority of these folks coming across the border are folks from Central America. Many of them family units, and we just can't care for them all.
Yeah. The other thing regarding that, when you bring up Mexico, of course, we're talking about tariffs. That was one of the threats that President Trump made. Are the tariffs going to bring China to the table? I know it's a whole different culture. They have to save face. They can't make a bad deal. But I don't know who they have to tell the bad deal to because they don't communicate with anybody in the country. So, but what do you think? What have you heard, at least, regarding China versus U.S. and tariffs? And because a lot of the polls say no, that people don't like the tariffs. So
yeah, I was just in China 8 weeks ago on the first congressional trade mission of this year. They were saying the right things, but they do something else.
Well, they came up with some sort of an agreement, and then they backed off of it.
The Chinese came to the table, but then they weren't. The hardliners in the communist government in China pulled Xi back away from the deal he had made with President Trump. Yeah. And Trump said, if you're not going to keep your word, no deal. Mm-hmm. Tom, the thing that's really important here is we do 6 times more trade with Canada than we do with China. Now, I've been pushing the administration to get these trade deals done because Montana ag producers need them. We're getting very close on this USMCA, the U.S.-Canada-Mexico deal. There were 3 impediments. All 3 of those impediments have been cleared now. We had to get rid of the steel and aluminum tariffs with Canada and Mexico. President Trump has removed those. The Democrats wanted a commitment that there would be no tariffs on automobiles. President Trump has said no tariff on automobiles. And Mexico actually had to change their labor laws. They've done that as well. So just a couple of weeks ago, I sent a letter to Nancy Pelosi and said, Speaker Pelosi, listen, all of your objections have been satisfied. We need to get this USMCA done for our Montana farmers and ranchers, and I'll keep pushing. There's no reason why it shouldn't be put up to a vote in the House.
I'm sure Shane has some comments on the Canada-Mexico trade agreement.
Well, yeah, it's so huge because he's changed the order of the milk boards and the and the poultry boards and the egg boards in Canada and opened it up to finally American products, which is great because what we're paying for, as we talk every day, for the price of oil and gasoline here. And then what we pay for the price of milk and eggs. So, yeah, I think it's really important. And the interesting thing is it's your Senate that has the only right to approve the treaty. The House can only deal with it if it requires funding. So I assume, is there any funding, Congressman, as well that the treaty requires to go into place?
It will come before the House for a vote. We've been talking about this. That's why I sent the letter to Nancy Pelosi saying let's bring it forward. So I think you are right. If it were a treaty, it would be in the Senate. This is structured more as an agreement.
Right.
So it has to be approved in both houses. The other thing that's in there that's very good for Montana producers is Montana grain growers have not been treated fairly historically because as they ship grain to Canada, doesn't matter what quality it is, when it gets to the border, the Canadian officials grade it as feed quality, fit only for animals. Well, clearly that's a lower price. In this agreement, that issue is resolved. All American grain going into Canada now under this new USMCA has to be graded under the same domestic grain grading policies that are used for Canadian grain. That's very good news for U.S. producers. I pushed Ambassador Lighthizer to get that into the agreement. It's in there. It's one more reason why we have to approve it.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to take a quick break here. When I come back, I want to talk to you about Colstrip. I want to talk about the Medicaid expansion in Montana, how we're going to pay for that, and some other things. So we'll be right back. We're talking with Greg Gianforte, running for governor of Montana, and we'll be right back with more right after this. 17 minutes after the hour. It's Monday, June 17, 2019. 67 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the mid-70s. And let's see, from our text line, let's see, Greg, is it true that some parts for the F-35 are being made in China?
I don't know.
I don't know either. So, I don't know. So,
I'm real. I had a chance recently to tour the Boeing plant up in Helena. Mm-hmm. That is impressive. 255,000 square feet, employing Montanans, and mostly they're building parts for Boeing jets and creating good Montana jobs. Boy, we could use some more of that.
Yeah. Well, Shane's got you still got the Huawei gal under arrest, Shane? Okay, yeah, they got. Yeah.
And this is a real concern because one of the things that was very clear when we were in China was there's very little separation between business and government. The communists, it's a top-down regime. Mm-hmm. In fact, we were in a meeting in Hangzhou, and we were going to meet the communist leader for dinner, this congressional delegation, and the equivalent of Google Maps said it was an hour trip, and the meeting was in a half hour. So all the communist handlers that had us there were nervous. So they pushed the button, and all the cars were removed from the roads at rush hour across this city of 9 million people. And this 1 hour trip turned into 15 minutes. Every single light pole has a camera with image recognition. They can track people wherever they go.
Oh, yeah.
It's scary.
From our text line 478-8298, would Greg as governor be open to a Prop 13? Property taxes are killing us out here. We just had a 23% increase in property taxes here in Gallatin County. 34%, I guess, overall if you pencil in commercial as well.
Let me be really clear. Mm-hmm. If I'm become your next governor, we will have no tax increases, no sales tax, no tax increases. The issue we've had, and the reason why there's been this upward pressure on taxes, is our economy's not strong enough. This is why we need a business person in the governor's office. We've seen what Donald Trump did for our national economy. I think we should take a page out of that playbook and implement it here. You never tax your way to prosperity. But we need a stronger economy so we have money to pay for our schools. We don't have enough money in our school system getting to the classroom. Many teachers don't make enough. We don't have money for infrastructure. And as a result, the burden on those in the private sector just keeps getting higher and higher. We've got to make it easier for small business, entrepreneurs, and innovators to create businesses. You don't do it by adding taxes.
Yeah. Well, and increasing, they talk about increasing the minimum wage to $15. 38 states, I think, took their minimum wages up and are shooting for $15 over 3 or 4 years from now, Chicago being one of them, I think, or Illinois being one of them.
I want people to make more, but we should let the market do it.
Well, that's
at the point you arbitrarily set a minimum wage, you exclude those just coming into the job market from getting started, and you make it economically more viable for automation. It will reduce employment opportunities. I am opposed to a higher minimum wage.
All right. Let's take a call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air with Greg Gianforte. What's going on?
Oh, yeah, morning. I was intrigued by your discussion of China. If I understand right, China is pretty much a rental ground for the major corporations that want to build over there, right? And to call them communist is actually not accurate. The major corporations of the world, starting with Richard Nixon back in 1972, decided to use China as the workshop of the world. And they turned it into, the fat cats of the world, turned China into it's just a hiring hall. And to call them communist is far from reality. It's the corporate state.
Is there a question here somewhere?
Oh, you're Gianforte, so you don't know this? You know what the
I'm asking you. Is there a question for Representative Gianforte in your spiel here somewhere?
Are you familiar with the corporate state? That's the question.
Oh, okay.
What's the corporate state?
So I'm sorry, we didn't get the caller's name. What's your name?
I'm David.
Okay, thanks for calling, David.
Yeah, thanks, David.
Well, in fact,
I'll answer right now.
The reality is, China is a communist country. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. When I was there recently, I met with both Chinese business leaders and American business leaders, Ford Motor Company and others. Their number one concern was forced technology transfer and theft of their intellectual property. And we
say that's the thing you got to do business in China. You got to give up.
It's a real issue. Mm-hmm. That we heard stories of plants that manufacture Apple iPhones during the day, and come 5 o'clock, they keep the line running, but they put somebody else's name on the phone. Right. That is theft, and it should be. We need the help from the Chinese government to actually enforce rules that protect intellectual property for individual inventors, small business people, as well as large corporations.
Is Xi running the show over there, or is there a back government that kind of is he? I would have called Obama a front man for the real government.
I don't know the internal politics there. I know Xi is president, and we met with a number of the members in Parliament. We met with the number 2 in China, the number 4, the number 7. Mm-hmm. We had substantive discussions. We were very clear. It was a bipartisan trip. We had Democrats and Republicans. We had members of the administration with us. The message was very clear. Yeah. We are united. We want a trade deal with China, but you got to behave by the rules that all the other countries follow. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah. Before we run out of time, the two things I wanted to ask you about, obviously the Medicaid expansion is a big deal in Montana here because of Obamacare and its failure and all of that. So what's the plan ahead if you're government for Medicaid?
Yeah, so as a society, we need a social safety net to take care of people that can't take care of themselves. So I fully support a social safety net. And what I think we have to be careful of is the growth beyond those that actually need it. Mm-hmm. So I would like to bring some additional accountability. And there was a lot of discussion in the last legislative session about how do we do that. People below certain income levels qualify. People above those income levels should not. And yet the current administration in Helena doesn't really do income verification. That's a problem. Yeah. So I support the program. We need a social safety net. Because we as a society, we've said we're going to take care of people that can't take care of themselves.
Okay. Colstrip, obviously that's an issue for us.
We had sad news last week. Yeah. I mean, it was terrible. I spoke with the CEO at Talon. This is the shutting of Colstrip 1 and 2 is a direct result of the war on coal. It's unfortunate. It's a hit to that community. I have many friends there, visited many times. We should be investing in innovation so that I had a briefing recently with some members from the Department of Energy. They have a prototype of a coal-fired plant that has 0 emissions. We should be concerned about the climate. We should be working to reduce carbon emissions. But coal is one of the few sources of reliable, affordable energy, and we can't turn out the lights and get rid of the airplanes and the farting cows, as the other side proposes. That's just not a viable solution.
Yeah. The other thing too is that some people have thought about maybe Montana buying and starting Montana Power back up, which was a viable thing back before it went south and everybody lost their shirt.
Well, I do believe that out-of-state ownership interest in Colstrip probably has not served Montana's interest particularly well. I'm not a big guy for government coming in and doing it, but if there was some way to help facilitate the private sector taking ownership so that decisions are made
some kind of a stock thing
made by Montanans for Montanans. And we saw that when I went toe-to-toe with Governor Inslee in a hearing back in Washington. You know, he was promoting this Green New Deal and had the audacity to say, my Green New Deal has never had a negative impact on any community ever, anywhere. I invited him to come to Colstrip and see the livelihoods he's extinguishing. He did not take me up on the offer.
Okay. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air with Greg Gianforte. What's going on?
Good morning, gentlemen. Representative Gianforte, you must have one heck of an intestinal fortitude to work with some of the people you got to deal with on a daily basis. My question for you, sir, is, with all this talk about impeachment, unless you have different insider information, I can't see one scintilla of impeachable evidence against Donald Trump. And yet the House seems to want to persist in an inquiry for impeachment. I want to know what your feeling is on that, and if they have any legal basis at all for pursuing an impeachment against our president. And I thank you for your time, and I'll listen for your response. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for the question. I mean, I think that the opposition really thought there was something here in this Russian collusion. The taxpayers spent over $20 million, 2,700 subpoenas, 500 interviews, comprehensive report, the Mueller report, no collusion. Yeah. Somebody in Wyoming said it well recently. They said it's clear the man didn't steal the horses, but he's guilty of not trying to be hung for it.
I think that was Simpson that said that. former Senator Simpson down there, but we're just about out of time. So, any final thoughts, Shane, for the? All right.
Well, thank you, gentlemen,
All
and
right.
I look forward to bringing some business experience up to Helena.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being here, Greg. Really appreciate it, and we wish you the best. And Shane and I will continue on. We still got a segment left, so. We'll be back with more stuff right after the news. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. 24 minutes for the top of the hour, Monday, June 17th, 2019, 67 degrees outside. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. Shane and Tom and Half Man Half Amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And thanks to Greg Gianforte for coming in and chatting with us. Covered a lot of topics in a short amount of time.
Yes, very interesting.
Yeah. So let's see from our text line. Whoa, Greg, you're starting to sound like a Democrat. What happened to smaller government? We're talking about Colstrip. I don't think Greg wants to buy Colstrip with taxpayer money, but that is an interesting proposition, though. That bringing something like Montana Power back, if possible, that. Without
create a utility.
Create a utility without killing everything we've all worked for all our lives here. I'm sorry, but teachers get paid plenty. Schools get plenty of money. It is the bloat in the administrative arm that is out of control, and I'd have to agree with that. We got. I don't know that every single school needs an administrator. I think an administrator could sometimes operate two schools or whatever, or at least an assistant could.
Well, it's sort of strange to have an administrator when they have a school board. I mean, that's really the school board is to oversee all this stuff and then hire principals to run the schools.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure why we need another bureaucratic level in there that saps.
Yeah, another $100,000 a year.
Yeah, I was going to say, because these guys don't work cheap. From our text line 478-8298, we need coal to run wind power. There you go.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Exactly.
I like that one.
So true. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see some other things we've got on our list here that we that we need to talk about. I want to talk a little more about that Livingston buying. The home residents are considering buying their own park that they live in. And
like a co-op.
Yeah. As mobile home parks across southwest Montana are getting sold and redeveloped. Residents of a Livingston Park are considering a creative option to prevent losing their homes if all goes to plan. View Vista Village would be the first mobile home park in southwest Montana to take on the resident-owned cooperative model, which allows park tenants to collectively own and operate the property. A couple of months ago, Vista View owner George Nicolopoulos, was thinking about selling and contacted Neighbor Works about using the resident-owned model at his park. He received several unsolicited offers on the property in the past year or two, but hasn't wanted to sell. He's also gotten to know some of the residents over the years and liked the model and the idea of the park being locally owned, and that's not a bad idea, I would think.
No, it's not at all. It's it's a neighborhood.
Well, that's exactly right. That's what we, that's what I think what people are looking for, so. Let's take a phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you are on the air. What's up?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
I heard partially what Gianforte had to say. He didn't answer that guy's question. Would he be down for Prop 13 type legislation?
Well, he said he wasn't going to increase any taxes.
Yeah, we don't need to hear that kind of crap.
Go ahead. Anyway.
But the question is if he would be down for a Prop 13 bill. And it'd been nice if he'd just said yes or no, because I don't think any of those politicians are down for decreasing our taxes or holding them. This is ridiculous. We own these places. My property was built, and I bought it, and there was nothing on it. And I went and I put all my money into it, and I put a house on it, raised it out of the ground.
Right.
And it's my property, bought with my labor, paid for with my labor, and now I got to rent it from the government.
Well, we all pay lot rent. That's a fact of life, unfortunately.
Well, we shouldn't.
Well, we should. I'll agree with that.
That's private property.
Yeah. My proposal over the years has been if your property does not produce income that would cover the property taxes, like a commercial building or something like that, if it's just your home where you live, then it would be exempt from property tax. And I would think over 10 years, you could slowly reduce the property tax on a place like yours and add property tax to Walmart or someplace else and allow prices to adjust themselves over 10 years. But, I don't know what you pay in property taxes, but wouldn't that disposable income of not having to pay that property tax improve your life?
Well, yeah, and I agree with you. I don't pay a whole lot in property tax. I live out in the county.
Yeah.
But I still pay them, $200 a month.
Sure. Yeah, that's about average. Yeah, that's a couple grand a year, that you're paying.
But here's the problem with it. That's my labor.
Exactly right.
That's private property. Now, I think that we should go back to tariffs federally, and I think that's where the federal government should get their money. And I think that the state should go to tariffs. Right? They get taxed, and I think state tax.
Yeah, if you took home 100% of your income, would that improve your life?
Well, yeah, it would. Back in 1913, we had all the schools and roads and cars, and we had a great booming economy, and we had no income tax.
Yeah.
So, we could go back to that. And the beauty of it is, people need a national sales tax. That's what a tariff is. Tariff is a national sales tax in all intents and purposes. So everything coming over from foreign countries gets tax put on it.
Yeah.
The rich are paid. The rich are the people buying all that stuff. The Ferraris and things like that would get the bulk of the tax.
Sure.
And so they'd be paying all the taxes.
Well, look at how many people come up here and buy cars and RVs and things like that because we don't have a sales tax.
Right. Yeah. Give it, put tariffs on. You want to buy a car in Montana? You can, but there's a tariff on it.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get a car manufacturer here.
You never know. Yeah. Very
You never know.
possible.
All right.
Hey, thanks for the call. All right, we got to take a quick break. Be right back. 12 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Monday, June 17th, 69 degrees outside. And Shane and Tobin, half man, half amazing, online with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. And Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And real quick, Trump campaign fires 3 pollsters in fallout from leaked poll numbers. So president is cutting ties with 3 of its pollsters. And that showed Trump losing to former Vice President Biden in 15 of the 17 states polled. So I don't know. Is that sour grapes?
Yeah, I said. Yeah, it's way too early. You don't know who you only know one side of the ticket. Right?
I know. We haven't even had debates yet. Nobody even knows who's running.
Exactly.
Well, let's go
when Biden's gone, all that's going to scatter. It's all.
Oh yeah. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Call you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, everything's up, Tom.
All right.
It's up for sale. It's up for grabs.
Yeah.
And it's
up and
it's all money. It's your income. The same thing that, what Aaron was talking about with the property tax. You say the same thing about the income tax. The same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can understand, and if you look in the first of the 26 volumes of law which cover the IRS and the income tax, pretty much all they talk about is profit in the beginning. Okay, then the income came along later. When they passed this amendment, and I don't think there's a bigger affront out there to the Constitution than that. I mean, we've talked about this before, Tom. That. Mm-hmm. It's your income. If you're a working guy out there, you don't own a corporation. You're a working guy. It's a direct exchange of wages for labor.
Yep.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
And they have no business getting in there. But what's happened is you got the Bezos and the rest of these guys making billions, not paying any taxes, and the little guy that's working for a wage is paying the taxes.
Yep. Well, that's the 40 years of Democrats writing the tax bills.
Right. And what would?
Well, yeah, but remember too that all these billionaires, that's an intrinsic value. It's all stock. They can't sell it all.
Well,
they don't have money in the closet, piled up.
Yeah, Bezos doesn't have $130 billion. Well,
he's got a better lifestyle than I do. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, no, he gets paid a big salary. There's no question he gets paid a big salary, probably far more than he should. But I just wanted to make that point.
And I guess the last thing I'll say this: what would happen to the economy in this country if they did away with the income tax? If everybody had more money, and I've said this, trickle down economics. I want to try trickle up. Give the money to the people who spend it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And use, as the other caller talked about, why not go back to tariffs and fees? It would probably wash out the same, but at least you'd feel better that you got 100% of what you work for.
Well, not only that, but you get share in the profits of these multinationals, creating products outside.
I think tariffs in the 21st century make a lot of sense, especially to a country like the U.S., like we've talked on. We consume 35% everything that's produced outside the U.S., and you should pay something for selling it here.
Well, that's what they were given, the duties, the tariffs, and the imposts. That's what they were given to run the government. Why don't they just follow the law?
Well,
that's what the law says.
That's where you are. So
and
that's where you're potentially at.
Yep.
And the contract in this country is supposed to be inviolate. Well, apparently it isn't, because if you're working for somebody for wages, that's a contract. I said, okay, I will work for you for X, and you said, good deal, okay. That's a contract.
Well, but that contract also includes that I'll pay some of your health care, and I will take money out of your pay for FICA tax and state and local taxes and, something for
Social
my
Security.
retirement home.
Well, whatever. It's part of the package. It's the deal. It's
Well,
the
it
deal
is,
you
yeah.
made with the employer.
That's true.
Plain and simple, So, yeah, I don't know.
That's why you fill out that W-2,
Yeah. Well, this economy, I think
W-4, I guess it is, yeah.
if they did away with it, this economy, it'd be screaming.
There you go.
It would be screaming. The bankers didn't do what they were supposed to do. That's the problem I got with this trickle down. It didn't work before, and it's not going to work now. Try trickle up, and you'll see that it works.
All right, man. Thanks for the
Have
call.
fun.
All right, take it
Thanks.
easy. All right, we got to do the Rush update and some other things. Here's Rush. All right, we're almost out of time. We've got a caller waiting. Caller, you got about a minute. What's up?
Okay, well, I just have a really quick comment anyway.
Go.
So, it sounded like Representative Gianforte was kind of saying, read my lips, no new taxes.
Well, that's what I understood, so we'll have to hold him to the fire, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm like, where have I heard that before? I sure hope he's in favor of Proposition 13.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Thanks.
All right. Say goodbye, Shane.
Bye, man. Talk to you tomorrow, and everybody be happy, be safe.
All right, we are out of here. Thanks much for listening to us, and we'll see everybody bright and early on Tuesday morning at, guess when? 6 a.m. We'll be right back. Well, we'll be right back at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, so see you then.